Hello! Today we're going to read a story from Scotland. It's called The Treasure of the Loch Ness Monster. And this is a series of traditional Scottish tales. We have a couple books of these. Let's find out what happens. Once upon a time, there were two children that sat by gleaming waters of Loch Ness and listened to their tummies rumble. Grrr. "I'm hungry," said Kenneth. "Are you hungry?" Ishbel nodded. "And Granny's cupboard is empty, so we'll be hungry all winter." "Oh no, I hope not." Ishbel looked across the calm loch toward the ruins of Urquhart Castle. "If we found the treasure under the castle, we could buy food. Oats for porridge, wheat for bread, tatties and neep for soup, maybe even sugar for cake." Kenneth smiled. "Don't be daft. There's no treasure under Urquhart Castle. Do you remember the old story about two doors hidden in the rock? Behind one door is a room full of poison. Behind the other, there's a room full of treasure." "That's just a story. It's not real. It's no more real than the big green monster that our great-grandpa thought he saw in the loch when he was wee." "But some stories are real." Ishbel jumped up. "Unless you have a better idea for filling our porridge bowls, let's go and look for those doors." Ooh, and quite the adventure. The cousins rowed their family's old boat across the deep, gleaming waters of the loch. They dragged it on the pebbly shore under the castle ruins and stared at the blank rock. "There are no doors," said Kenneth. "No doors and a long row back home." "They're hidden doors." Ishbel patted the rock. "We have to search for them." "Even if you found them, how would you choose which one to open?" asked Kenneth. "That's the point of the story, isn't it? To win treasure, you have to risk the poison." Ishbel ran her hands along the rock. "Our whole family is starving, so I'll take that risk." Kenneth laughed. "That's a brave thing to say when you haven't found any doors." "Do you think they'll find the doors?" They heard a distant splash. A wave sped across the surface of the water and sloshed against Kenneth's boots. As the wave washed back down the loch, the pebbles rolled away to reveal... What do you think it's going to reveal? A key. Kenneth held up the brass key. Ishbel? Look what I found." It was covered in grit, so he polished it with his sleeve. The key glittered, and two arched doorways appeared in the rock. "The doors are real," whispered Ishbel, "so the treasure must be real." "And the poison," murmured Kenneth. "The poison must be real, too." "Which door will we open, left or right?" Ishbel frowned. "We don't have a coin to toss. If we had a coin to toss, we wouldn't need to hunt for treasure." Ishbel picked up a flat stone. "Left side for right, light side for right, dark side for left." She threw the stone into the air and caught it. "Dark, we go left." So she took the key from Kenneth. "I'll open the door. You stay safely back." Kenneth sighed. "No, we'll do this together." Ishbel turned the key in the lock. They both pulled gently and the door creaked open. Through the narrow gap, they saw glowing yellow light. What do you think they're going to see? "Gold!" gasped Ishbel. The light thickened and swirled. "That's not gold!" yelled Kenneth. "That's poison!" Tendrils of sickly yellow mist oozed through the gap and wafted round Ishbel's hand. The cousins crashed their shoulders against the door, slamming them shut. The mist vanished. Ishbel locked the doors. "My fingers are itchy." She wiped them on her skirt. "But now that we've found the poison, we know where to find the treasure." Do you think they'll find the treasure? I think so. Ishbel turned the key in the other lock. They both pulled cautiously, and the door creaked open. There was no yellow light, just a puff of dust. They hauled the doors wide open. The stone chamber was filled with ancient armor, broken battle axes, torn tapestries, and "Gold!" shouted Ishbel as they rushed forward. "Golden eggs!" Kenneth lifted one. They're very heavy. We can buy lots of food with these, Ishbel grinned. Granny's cupboards will be full, and we'll never be hungry again. Still seems like there's a bit of the story left, doesn't there? They carried the eggs one by one to the boat. As Kenneth collected the last egg, he noticed a gold coin below a beautiful tapestry. He picked it up and put it in his pocket. Ishbel blew on her fingers, which had started to throb. As Kenneth placed the egg back in the boat, Ishbel turned the key in the lock, and the doors faded away. Oh, you're gonna like this. Ishbel and Kenneth rowed across the calm water when they reached the middle of the deep, gleaming loch. Ishbel said, "My skin is burning." She stopped rowing and dangled her hand over the side of the boat to cool her fingers. Beneath her, she glimpsed a vast, curved shape. She saw the surface of the loch tremble, and she felt the boat rock. Who is that? What do you think it is? I think we know who that is. A huge green head shot from the depths of the Loch Ness and crashed into the bottom of the boat. The wooden boat flew through the air. It splintered and split and broke apart. Kenneth, Ishbel, the golden eggs, and the brass key tumbled into Loch Ness. They sank into the deep, cold water. Well, hello there, Nessie. Down below, the cousins saw the green beast who had attacked their boat. She was curving and coiling through the water, gathering the bright eggs in a loop of her tail and rolling them onto a ledge. Ishbel and Kenneth kicked upwards to the surface. They're escaping. Did you see the monster? Spluttered Kenneth. Did you see her saving the eggs? Ishbel coughed. Maybe that's why she broke our boat, to get her eggs back. Kenneth looked across the wide loch. We're a long way from home, he looked over his wet shoulder, and a long way from that castle. I don't think I can swim that far. Neither can I, said Ishbel, and that great big monster is probably still right under us. Ishbel and Kenneth started to wave wildly to the shore, yelling, "Help! Please help!" I think that it's still under there. Suddenly, Kenneth and Ishbel felt something solid rise up under them. The huge green beast was lifting them out of the cold water. They shivered and clutched each other. Then the great green creature began to swim across the loch, and Ishbel whispered, "I think she's taking us home." So the cousins sat still and calm, perched high on the curved back of the beast as she carried them across Loch Ness. She's helping. When the huge green beast reached the shore, Kenneth and Ishbel slid off her back. As she turned and swam away, 3 elegant curves rose up, then dived down. Ishbel rubbed her hand. The cold water had ceased the pain, but there were still yellow marks under her skin. She wondered if they would ever fade. "The magical stories are true," said Kenneth. "Let's tell everyone that we found Urquhart Castle's treasure and great-grandpa's monster. No one would believe us. The doors and key have disappeared, and that beautiful beast can hide deep inside the loch," Ishbel sighed. "She rescued her eggs, and she rescued us. But we lost the treasure." "Not all the treasure." Kenneth pulled the gold coin from his pocket. Ishbel gasped. "Our own small treasure, enough to buy food for winter, and maybe even a couple of cakes." "Oh, good, they have food." As the cousins ran home, a long green tail waved and then vanished into the deep, gleaming waters of Loch Ness. Oh, that was a great story. I hope you have a fun, magical, and adventurous day. Bye!